Okay, y'all, you already know it's your man Dolo Ren, producer of the Productive Conversations podcast, content creator for the podcast as well. And I'm back. I've been off the grid for a little while. I've been off Instagram and Facebook, if anyone's noticed at all. I don't think anyone has. But yeah, I'm back. And I probably should have had, predictions out for UFC 300 a little earlier, but here we are. Took me a little time, but, I want to talk about 3 fights on the card. And I'm going to talk about this on the podcast channel as well with Matt Brown on Tuesday. And we should be dropping that episode on Wednesday on the PCP channel. So, make sure you go follow that. Make sure, you tuned in. Let's go over some fights. You know me, I like to pick 3 good fights. I don't want to give y'all predictions. I'm not like the Weasel MMA. I'm not going to go down and predict every single fight with y'all. But I'm going to predict, 3 fights that I'm pretty confident on my pick on. I like to give y'all a good analysis and really put in some time to watch some footage and compare and see what's going on. I got a whole criteria of how I study fights and how I predict fights, and I'll probably reveal that criteria one day, but that'll be for another day. Let's get into it. First 3 fights I'm going to talk about, or the 3 fights that I'm going to talk about are Justin Gaethje versus Max Holloway. We're going to talk about Alex Pereira versus Jamal Hill, and we're going to talk about Charles Oliveira versus Arman Tsarukyan. We're gonna get straight to it. Let's start with Justin Gaethje and Max Holloway. So Justin Gaethje, man, it's crazy because he wanted the BMF belt. As everybody knows, him and Max Holloway are gonna be fighting for the BMF belt at UFC 300. And man, it sucks for him because wow, like with Dustin Poirier getting the title shot to fight Islam, it kind of stings, man. I saw Justin Gaethje was celebrating when Dustin Poirier won. Maybe they're cool. Maybe they got a camaraderie to a certain degree. But it's got to sting, man. Wow, you should be the one. Justin Gaethje should be the one competing for the title, not Dustin Poirier. But that's just how it goes. Justin Gaethje wanted to be on UFC 300, and I don't blame him, really. You want that spotlight, you want that main card slot. Why not? And it's against a guy in Max Holloway, who's a legend. Everybody knows Max Holloway. Max Holloway's fought almost everybody. Like him, RDA, and who else? Like him and RDA. Him and RDA are 2 guys that have really fought like everybody, bro. Like everybody. So, and there's a few other fighters like that, but those are just the 2 off the top of my head. We got Justin Gaethje fighting Max Holloway at 155. It's going to be at 155. Max Holloway's moving up. He's even showing some pictures of him bulking up, and he looks like he bulked up pretty good. He went 5 rounds with Dustin Poirier in a really tough fight that he was getting kind of beat up in, but he was standing, he's standing the whole time and throwing shots the whole time. When he said he was one of the best boxers, when he said he was the best boxer in the UFC, he meant it, because he was standing up with Dustin Poirier like nothing, and they fought before too, so it's even more impressive that in a rematch, all these years later, Max Holloway is able to actually go 5 rounds in a division up, than the first time they competed, which was in featherweight, I believe. So kudos to Max Holloway. Don't want to take nothing away from him, but I'm going to be taking a lot away from him for this analysis, But let's start with Justin Gaethje. Justin Gaethje is 5'11". He has a reach of 70 inches, and he's basically like an orthodox fighter. He's like a wrestler, boxer type, He does pretty good on the ground, but the main thing is his power and that famous leg kick, that like leg kick / sweep that he does. He's famous for it, and he's one of the best at it. And we're going to get into that part too. But yeah, Justin Gaethje, man, he's got 20 wins by TKO, and his record is 25-4. So that just gives you an example of how strong he is, how he really gets in there. Like his fighting style, he likes to really just like shell up and come forward, and then try to land some counters, and he'll take a few shots just to land that leg kick, which is something special about him. He really loves to fight. He treats it like a blood sport, and it's always exciting to see Justin Gaethje fight. Always exciting. So regardless, we're gonna see fireworks regardless who he's fighting. You know, I can't really think of a boring fight Justin Gaethje's been off the top of my head, but so how it goes to Justin Gaethje, man. He's ranked number 2 at lightweight, and he should be like, you know, Oliveira's ranked number 1. He's ranked number 2, and Dustin Poirier is ranked number 3, which sounds like the correct order. But man, it's got to sting that he can't get that main title now. But if Poirier wins the main title and then Justin Gaethje beats him, then I mean, Justin Gaethje gets the BMF title, then, you know, he faces Poirier next, and it's a good chance he has a belt because Justin Gaethje recently just knocked out Poirier in his last outing with a head kick. Max Holloway's 5'11", so they're at the same height, you know, the same height, and 69-inch reach, so it's like the same kind of reach, basically. Not going to be much of a difference there. And it even kind of seems like Max Holloway is a little longer, to be honest, no diddy. He has a record of 25-7, and he has 11 wins by TKO. And maybe that doesn't speak too much credence to how good this man is, because, you know, he has a slew of submissions too, and he's just like Justin Gaethje in a sense that he's in your face and he wants to fight. He just uses more angles and uses a lot more boxing as opposed to like takedowns or wrestling. And yeah, he'll throw some kicks in there. He likes that, you know, that spinning liver kick he usually does. He might catch Justin Gaethje with that. But I just don't, you know, there's a lot that he could catch Justin Gaethje with. You know, he's fast, he's powerful. And, you know, in the fights with, you know, we saw him fight Yair Rodriguez, who's a big guy himself, you know, but, you know, obviously not a lightweight, but a big guy himself. And, you know, they had a really rough fight. You know, Max Holloway is a soldier. Max Holloway is a complete soldier. So got to give him props there. And he's number 2 at featherweight. He's, like I said, he's going up to lightweight to fight Justin Gaethje. And this is kind of where, like, I'm iffy about it. You know, I'm iffy about fighters moving up, especially a fighter in Max Holloway that just lost to Dustin Poirier at 155. Max Holloway's going up to lightweight again, which he's probably getting more comfortable with, but still not all the way there. He's been fighting at featherweight for so long. And man, he's fighting Justin Gaethje, so that's kind of a problem, you know. Even Dustin Poirier's been on record saying that, you know, Justin Gaethje feels like really thick-bodied, thick-boned, no diddy, you know. Somebody basically saying that he's really strong, someone that carries a lot of power and carries, you know, a good amount of weight with him. And there's a lot of weight behind those shots, and, you know, him coming forward, you know, with that leg kick as well, it's going to be a problem for Max Holloway. You know, we've seen Max Holloway struggle with leg kicks in the Aldo fight, in the Jose Aldo fight, even though he won that fight, Max Holloway. But in the beginning, you could see that even Joe Rogan was commentating, saying like, yeah, Jose Aldo's getting to him with the leg kicks. And I know a lot of people don't like Joe Rogan's commentating, but he was right on that. If you were watching, you could see that Jose Aldo was landing those leg kicks pretty good, and it was slowing down Holloway for a little while. And yeah, obviously Holloway won that fight eventually, but even in the last outing with Volk, not his last outing, but, you know, the last outing that he had with Volk out of their 3 fights that they had, the third fight with Volk, you could see that Alexander Volkanovski, was really utilizing leg kicks in between his combos to stifle Max Holloway, and it was working. It worked really well. So the thing is that Justin Gaethje is going to be able to take a lot of shots from Max Holloway, and he is definitely going to be swinging that kick. He's going to get in close, you know, throw some quick counters like he does. Justin Gaethje's not the fastest fighter, and he gets a little clumsy when it comes to, you know, volume being put on him, as we saw in the Poirier fights. But, you know, Max Holloway's going to come with that volume, but Max Holloway's not Dustin Poirier. Max Holloway's, you know, still a featherweight division fighter for the most part. And Justin Gaethje's really going to take advantage of the weakness he has towards leg kicks. I see it clear as day. It's going to be tough, and it's going to be rough for Max Holloway. I don't think it's going to be 5 rounds. I really don't. I really don't think it's going to be 5 rounds, but I know Max Holloway is tough, so he's going to stick in there. And I know Justin Gaethje struggles a bit with volume, so I think it's going to be a fight. I think it's going to be a good fight. I think Justin Gaethje wins, though. Play it safe for the money line, like I said, but if you want to go, reach for greatness, then go for that. Go for that prop bet, 3rd round KO. And that's how I think that's going to happen. And it's going to be a good fight. It's going to be a good fight, but I got Justin Gaethje winning that. So the next fight I want to talk about is Charles Oliveira versus Arman Tsarukyan. Arman Tsarukyan. Hopefully I said that right. And man, another lightweight banger, Charles Oliveira, that's got to be one of my favorite fighters, like ever. Some of my favorite fighters go like Carlos Condit, Jose Aldo, Anderson Silva. I even like with Mikel Pereira, not Alex Pereira, even though Alex Pereira is definitely one of my favorite fighters, but Mikel Pereira has been doing pretty good. Obviously they're not related, but Mikel Pereira has been doing pretty good. He came out in the game kind of goofy. Now, he's kind of tightened up a little bit. He's one of my favorite fighters. But either way, I'm just saying all that to say that Charles Oliveira is hands down one of my favorite fighters, probably my favorite lightweight. I think he's definitely my favorite lightweight, to be honest. Because you can't deny Charles Oliveira, People counted him out early in the career. Then his daughter was born, and then he went on that 11-win streak until he fought Islam and then threw that stupid kick, that little like karate kick or whatever he threw, and then fell and then got subbed, He doesn't do that again in the rematch. He doesn't throw that stupid kick in the rematch, and I think he takes Islam in the rematch. But, I still got to analyze that, and I'm getting ahead of myself because I really like Charles Oliveira. The man is a monster. The man has a hell of a right hand. But let's talk about, like, his background. So he's number 1 at lightweight. This guy is 5'10", with a 74-inch reach advantage. That's a hell of an inch reach advantage, And his record is 34-9, 21 wins by submission. 21 wins. That's a lot of wins by submission. And his opponent, Arman Tsarukyan, has about 21 wins and 3 losses. So Oliveira is a young vet at this point. He has as many wins in submissions alone he has as much wins in submissions alone as Arman does his whole MMA career. Pretty shocking, pretty shocking kind of stat right there. This man is a monster on the ground. Like he's a jiu-jitsu specialist. You don't want to get trapped up with him on the ground. He knows his way around wrestlers. He was doing pretty good with Islam in that first round, He's a very, very dangerous on the ground. That's probably where he's most dangerous. But what he's been able to add to his arsenal as his career has gone on is that laser-like right hand. He just hits you real hard with that right hand, man. Like, and his boxing combos have gotten crisper, have gotten quicker. And, he really, I guess he tries to throw the kicks in there, He's mostly like a boxer and jiu-jitsu guy. Almost like a Nate Diaz, but like way more advanced than Nate Diaz. No offense. But I'm going to get into Arman Tsarukyan now. So Arman Tsarukyan, I'm not really sure what his background is. And when I mean background, I mean his heritage, his origin. And what I just found out right now is that he is Armenian and Russian. He's an Armenian Russian. I'm not too sure about that side of the world. I'm not very good with geography. I'm not good with maps. So, and this guy is tough. Like I said before, he's 21-3 in the UFC. He's still relatively new to the UFC, and this guy is awesome, man. He is a hell of a fighter. He kind of reminds me of a little bit of like a Colby Covington and like a Cody Garbrandt kind of mix. He's predominantly like a wrestler and kickboxer mostly, but like he's ranked number 4 at lightweight. I should say that first. He's 5'7" with a 72-inch reach advantage. So he's given up height and reach to Charles Oliveira, which is the first problem. Like I said, he's like a mix of like Cody and Colby in a sense with that athleticism and how he comes forward and is aggressive. Once he gets you on the ground and he's in that position, he's done it to, a few fighters in the UFC. Once he gets on that top position on the ground, he starts wailing on you and he puts that power, that Russian power on you, and it's over. Like, this guy is a monster, man. I like him. My only problem is that he's not much of like it doesn't look like he's thinking too much in there. He's kind of more performing, which is more natural for an athlete, I guess, of his caliber. But I just think in the UFC and just fighting in general, you just gotta, if you're gonna be at that elite level, if you're gonna fight a guy like Oliveira, you probably should think a little bit more and, you know, maybe have some type of game plan for this guy, because Arman Tsarukyan can be a little, from what I've noticed, he's a little bit reckless when he comes in. He keeps those hands down. And, you know, Charles Oliveira, he's good at keeping those hands up, you know, as where Tsarukyan isn't. He would do pretty good on the ground. If it go, I could see this fight really going to the ground, to be honest. There's going to be a lot of ground activity, I think. I think Tsarukyan's going to try to get that top position and then just try to put Oliveira out. But, like, he probably should know a little bit better, because Oliveira's, you know, the 21 wins by submission. That's a big thing. So I see a height and reach advantage for Charles Oliveira. I see a just like a style advantage for Charles Oliveira, IQ advantage for Charles Oliveira, because Arman Tsarukyan has the power and the speed to go with somebody. You know, he's not ranked number 4 behind Poirier for no reason. You know, the guy could fight. He just knocked out Beneil Dariush, and so did Charles Oliveira. So, you know, that kind of cancels itself out. If both fighters knocked out the same dude in their last fight, it's like, can you really, in the first round, pretty easily? He has stamina, you know, he's shown that when he went all 5 rounds with Gamrot. But problem is that he lost to Gamrot, and Gamrot has similar kind of height and reach dimensions as Charles Oliveira. So that kind of spells trouble for him. And Gamrot's a good dude too. He's a good fighter too. So, you know, Oliveira just had a baby boy. And yes, the last time he had a child, he went on an 11-win streak and was, like, I can't say flawless, but got stoppages. Like 11 wins in a row, that's, you gotta be somebody, right? So I just don't know how he's gonna react to his baby boy being born, and now he's a little older. It troubles me a little bit, but not really. To my head now to choose, I would say you'd have to pick Oliveira, because, you know, history is going to repeat itself. Last time he had a kid, he went on an insane run. So I see that happening again. I absolutely see that happening again. So, yeah. He's a young veteran. Like, I'm the type, you know, when I pick fights, you know, if the veteran has something with him and he still has it, and he's fighting a young up-and-coming guy that maybe doesn't have the IQ like the veteran does, you know, the little tactics like the veteran does to win fights, you know, usually I pick the veteran. And I see Oliveira as a young veteran. I see him as a young veteran. But I could see it getting to the ground, and I could see Oliveira having trouble with Tsarukyan's style at first. Maybe even getting dropped, you know. But once it gets on the ground, I think it'll be over. Third fight that we're going to talk about is Jamal Hill versus Alex Pereira. There's a lot to say about this fight. And I think I'm going to save it for the PCP episode, because I got a lot to say. It has a lot to do with the event in general. Like, this event might not have, like, this fight might not happen, because Jamal Hill might pull out, or might be encouraged to pull out, and we'll get, like I said, you know, a DC versus Anderson Silva kind of thing, where it was supposed to be DC versus John Jones at UFC 200. But I could see history repeating itself here too. So they have the same exact dimensions, 6'4" with a 79-inch reach advantage. Like, that's nuts, bro. Like, that is crazy. That is a crazy length and height, no diddy. So, you know, it's pretty crazy how similar they are in dimensions. And, you know, Alex Pereira is the current champion. Jamal Hill was the former champion. Yeah, it was kind of, you know, light heavyweight's been kind of a mess. The belts went from Blachowicz to Teixeira. Then Teixeira loses it in the first defense, and Yuri vacates it. Then Jamal Hill beats Teixeira for it, and then Jamal Hill gets injured and vacates it. And then Alex Pereira comes, beats Jan Blachowicz, that had the title before all of them. So kind of a mess. That's why I'm saving a lot of that talk for PCP. To talk about Alex Pereira, like, what's there not to talk about? 9-1 in the UFC so far, and has, I think, 7 knockouts. He earned a UFC belt in his 4th fight. Just think about that. He earned a UFC belt in his 4th fight in the UFC, and took it from Adesanya, who defended his belt like 5 times, I believe, 5 times in middleweight. Like, come on now. Pereira is a monster. He became real famous online, and everybody knows Alex Pereira, and he's a scary looking dude too. You even saw it in the Yuri Prochazka fight. Every time he touched him with the leg kick, Prochazka, felt it and was falling down, tripping and stuff like that. His power is out of this world. I think that's a big part of his game, but that power comes with the technique. You got to throw it the right way so that it lands how you want it to, and it lands with that power that you intended on landing it with. It just seems like Pereira has the touch of death, even at light heavyweight. He's more comfortable. He's not cutting that extra weight, and like, it seems like he's in the prime of his life. Usually when I see a guy go on a run like this and just active nonstop and has done so much, in the past year or two, normally there's a burnout that I'm expecting to happen. But a burnout doesn't happen with Alex Pereira. He's been a champion in kickboxing before this. This is how he lives. Like, his lifestyle is just different, man. Like, what's a Poatan? I think he's like, it's like some tribal stuff in Brazil that he's part of, and it's like they fight with some type of, they fight with something extra, man. They got like an extra spirit with them when they're fighting. Okay, so I would like to add that Alex Pereira has been working on his jiu-jitsu, with his girlfriend in the kitchen. We all saw that. But it looks like he's been really taking MMA serious as a full entire career. It looks like he's not just trying to get by with his kickboxing, even though he's so good that he's been able to get by with just his striking. But he showed in the Jan Blachowicz fight that he's able to defend takedowns too. And then training with Glover Teixeira, he got a lot of game about light heavyweights from Glover Teixeira. So I think Pereira is going to be really prepared for this fight, and I think he's going to be hungry. And, I'm glad to see him at UFC 300. And I'll be honest, like I said, Jamal Hill is just... Normally, if he wasn't gone for so long, if he didn't have the ACL tear, with the same dimensions as Alex Pereira, and having, the ability to kick with Alex Pereira, and that one-punch knockout strength that Jamal Hill has, even though his boxing isn't as crisp as Alex Pereira's boxing is, he could still knock you out with a shot. So, Jamal Hill is a hell of a fighter himself. But he's been gone for too long, man. It's been like a year and a half or something. It's been a long time that he's been gone. I'm not gonna lie, man. Like, I like Jamal Hill's style. He's versatile with the striking, man. He's versatile on the ground. He's quick on his feet. It looks like he's thinking in there when he's in there with you, and he's not just like BSing. The guy's a hell of a fighter. Jamal Hill is a hell of a fighter. Like, I don't want to get it construed. And I was upset at first when I heard about this fight because of how long he's been gone, and him tearing his ACL playing basketball. Like, I thought, like, dang, Dana, couldn't you have made a better fight than this? Because come on, bro, this is like we know it's gonna happen. But it is what it is. It is what it is. Because who else was gonna fight? We wanted Alex Pereira in there, but it would sound like he was gonna fight Adesanya in there, because Adesanya wanted to fight DDP. That would have been pretty cool to see. Like, the thing with Pereira is that he's actually defended against a real light heavyweight, where when Jan Blachowicz had it, he only defended it against Israel Adesanya. So Pereira is really the truth, man. And normally, like I said, Jamal Hill having the same dimensions and having all the skills he has, and having more of an acumen, and UFC being around the UFC a little bit longer, I would say I would have picked the upset for Jamal Hill to win. Normally, I'm not gonna lie, I would have normally picked Jamal Hill for the upset. But how can you pick Jamal Hill with the torn ACL, recovering from ACL, and Alex Pereira being the best kickboxer in the UFC, maybe the world? Who knows? So this just spells doom for Jamal Hill. And I want to get into more of this on the PCP episode. But this just spells doom for Jamal Hill, man. It's almost unfair to the fans, people that are betting, that, are invested in this product, but they got to see Jamal Hill not fight at his best. But our hands are kind of tied here. So, got to do what we got to do. So, seeing the way that Prochaska reacted to Alex Pereira's kicks, that's too far of a stretch, man. I cannot pick Jamal Hill for this fight at all. I honestly see Alex Pereira winning this. And I can see, if you want to pick a prop bet, like I said, money line, go for Alex Pereira. You want to pick a prop bet, and then go for the knockout in the first round. But I don't think Jamal Hill is taking it to the ground. He'd have a better chance on the ground. I don't think he can get Pereira to the ground, and I don't think he can withstand the kicks. I don't think he's not been as active. He's not as sharp as Pereira is, and he does have a chance to knock out Pereira, but I think Pereira's going to get to him before Jamal can get to him. So that's really how I see that fight going down. And yeah, I got Justin Gaethje winning against Max Holloway, prop bet, 3rd round knockout. I got Charles Oliveira winning against Arman TSURUKYAN. If you want to do a prop bet, you want to go for greatness, I say 2nd round submission. And Alex Pereira versus Jamal Hill. Come on now. Alex Pereira for the money line. You want a prop bet? 1st round knockout. 1st round knockout. It's going to be easy. It's going to be easy work. And yeah, there's other fights on the card, but, I just like to pick like 3 or maybe sometimes 4 fights to talk about, to really predict. I'm a longtime UFC fan and a longtime boxing fan. So when I make a prediction, I really go in on it, man. So, that's why I like to focus on like 3 predictions and then enjoy the rest of the card. I'll be watching the card, and hopefully, we can make some money, because I'm going to be making a little parlay, with money lines, though. I'm not really big on the prop bets, but I might make a separate parlay for some prop bets. So if you're going to bet, do the money lines of the picks I just told y'all, and then, Justin Gaethje, Charles Oliveira, Alex Pereira, easy money line parlay. Even if you're not making a parlay, that's just the 3 people I think are going to win in those 3 fights. So yeah, that's my take, man. That's my predictions. Subscribe to the Dolo Ren channel for predictions, even more video essays. And then, I'm going to be doing some video game stuff too. I'm a big God of War fan. I like Star Wars. I like survival horror. I like adventure games. I like 2K. I like a lot. I like Fight Night. I like the UFC games. So expect to see me streaming. And yeah, that's how we're giving it up this time. So those are my predictions, and that's how the future is going to look like with the channel. And I can't wait for UFC 300, man. It's going to be a dope event. So make sure that y'all share, like, subscribe, follow, all that good stuff. Leave a comment. I like to get in the comments with y'all, so I'm going to be there. If y'all got anything to say, I love debating. I love talking about this stuff. So let's chat. You already know. It's your man Dolo Ren. I'm signing off. I'll check y'all. And we're going to follow up on these predictions. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. If I'm right, you're going to hear it. So it's Dolo Ren. And these are my predictions. So I'm going to catch y'all next time. Peace.